Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Bluedragonfive here.
And Jacob Wile.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we find ourselves in the midst of Disney's big venture into the world of streaming, having started a war in the process, we thought it'd be nice to stay up to date on the ever growing catalog and rule on what's a must or a bust on Disney Plus.
And tonight we are discussing She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, Episode 1. A normal amount of rage.
A normal amount of rage.
Was the air horn really necessary?
For comedy purposes, absolutely.
Yep.
That's right. So we have, folks, we finally reached the moment. This is second to Falcon Winter Soldier. This is now thirdly because now Daredevil's in the mix. But before that, ever since Disney Plus was announced, it was the most anticipated show. I always dreamed of them doing She-Hulk, but they did not announce it when Disney Plus launched. We had Falcon Winter Soldier. So this and Falcon Winter Soldier are the most hyped things that I have for Disney Plus. So I've been eager to get to this show, and especially in a world where we're kind of looping back in kind of our Defenders buddies potentially, and through She-Hulk, I could not be more hyped, and we're finally here. Jacob, what did you think of episode 1 of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law?
Dude, look at it. It's definitely up to a promising start. I'll say that much.
Yeah, that's the thing. For me, see, that's the thing. I went into this very hyped, so I tried to kind of try to get a little bit of an outside view on how I felt about this one. So I think episode 1 is a really solid start, but I don't think it's quite the slam dunk of a pilot I hoped it was going to be. I thought it was good, and I did enjoy it, and it definitely shows promise, but I don't think it's completely, it didn't kind of like elate me or draw me in like a Moon Knight, for example. I mean, the ending did. That's kind of where I'm at on it. I think this episode might be bogged down a little bit, and not in a way it kills it, but just in a way that I think maybe takes away from the energy we have at the very end of this, where we have a lot of we take care of the origin, the exposition in episode 1, as you kind of have to do. But the end of the show is what we're staying for. Just like, okay, she's an attorney at law, she is She-Hulk, and she's kind of managing through things. And I think Maslany, she's well cast, and she's having a lot of fun as She-Hulk, and that's coming across very well. Yes, as I'm saying, so I liked it. I just felt a little bogged down with maybe a few manufactured things at the top. You're like, okay, we have to address what the deal with the Hulk is after Endgame for that Shang-Chi post-credit scene, and we have to do this and we have to do that, and it's not bad. It's just just feels a little mandated.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from on that.
The biggest example I have, and we'll get to it, is we do have a really forced fight in this episode for action purposes. Not comedy purposes, but action purposes. And that's the bit for me. I was like going, huh, I don't think we needed all that. But we'll get there. Yes, I mean, overall, the vibe I'm getting from episode 1 is it seems to be kind of like we're setting up a self-acceptance arc, which I hope won't overshadow things, because this episode really puts into play like, hey, we're really kind of fast pedaling a lot of stuff that the CW would drag out for about a season and a half. The whole like
I'll play the CW would drag it out for the entire show.
Exactly, the whole like cure or don't cure. Will she ever accept it? Will she find a few happy places? It's like it seems like this show's gonna sidestep that, so I don't think it's in danger of that. But if they wrote this show thinking we're not going to get any more, which is a good with the Disney Plus shows is probably a good method to take, because a lot of these shows is really are not planning to go for more, and they're just going to loop them into other shows and vice versa and whatnot. At least so far as we can tell, with the exceptions, of course, being Loki and God knows what else. Well, What If, I guess, technically being the other one, but let's not get bogged down with details. Regardless, so that's the thing. So I hopefully that whole, because I think ultimately it's going to be very obvious, and so obvious that as She-Hulk is going to learn this episode, like, well, yeah, I don't need to go through like the first like 5 to 10 years of this journey, because I'm one with myself right now. So maybe I can make lemons out of lemonade or limes out of limeade or what have you with the green of it all.
Plus, she had some very good help from her cousin, who's been through it before.
That she did. So that's the thing. So I think there's going to be a thematic through line. I just hope it all kind of works out. We're not just kind of like kind of hamming it over of like if there's going to be a big plot point during the season of Jen, we can cure you or not. I don't want them to necessarily do that, or at the very least, if they do that, more of like she shrugs it off, or like I don't want to make a big deal or a big arc of that.
And I can see where you're coming from on that.
I mean, I think the way that's probably going to work out, best case scenario, again, if told kind of in an economic way, would be it seems like we teed up in this first episode, like, hey, being a Hulk is dangerous, and you do not want them, believe me, from experience, the last thing you want is for them to see you as a monster. And again, if she has the alter egos blended together as she does now, if that happens, if she's seen as a monster, people are starting to kind of doubt her and question things, as they probably will at some point during the season. There's no hiding from that. She's as well known as Jennifer Walters as she is, She-Hulk. So there's no hiding from that. So that might bring about kind of a cure plot line, which hopefully will be minimized. But we'll see. Anyway, I'm speculating like episodes down the line right now. So,
well, considering the main arc seems to be them using her as a superhero lawyer spokeswoman, it doesn't seem like they'll be hoping to cure her.
Exactly, but still, again, there's always like a PR nightmare. Like if a Hulk out goes wrong, then there's definitely she'll be front stage.
That's a fair point.
I'm thinking like Legend of Korra kind of stuff, like season 1 of Legend of Korra, one could say.
And of course, one would happen, and of course, I could also bring in one certain Daredevil.
Oh, for sure, indeed, yes.
Marvel's other famous, probably more famous lawyer.
The lawyer, as great as She-Hulk is, the lawyer is Daredevil.
Yeah,
I love that our lawyers are coming in primary colors, red and green. Technically red and yellow, but we'll get there.
Daredevil feels the yellow too.
Yeah.
Now we need blue.
Yep. I'm trying to think if we have any blue lawyers in the Marvel period. I can't think of any right now.
Oh
wait, we got Ronan the Accuser. He's in the legal system of sorts. There you go.
I guess that's a stretch, but it works. I guess.
Well, I'm saying he held trials traditionally, and not in the MCU really, but in general, like, he's a whole he's an accuser. Therefore, like they've done like court cases with the Fantastic Four. He's the lawyer, so
he's judge, jury, and executioner.
Yeah.
And what someone needs to do is they need to work at Marvel. Create a character whose alter ego is a lawyer, whose primary color scheme is blue.
Yep, there you go.
That way you can have all the primary colors sorted out.
Indeed. So
Daredevil already covers 2 of them.
All right, so I guess just getting into the episode. So something we should talk about right off the bat, our structure in terms of our framing device, which we're off to the races by, hey, She-Hulk's breaking the fourth wall because historically in the comics, she came along in I believe the 80s, if not late set. Was it the 80s or 70s?
I don't actually know.
I'm pretty sure. I know John Byrne ran with her in the 80s. There's a very slight chance she was in 78 or something. Let's just say 80s. We're predominantly the point being she broke the fourth wall in the 80s anyway. Slices. The point being predates Deadpool with the fourth wall breaking. So I like that we celebrate that aspect of her character, and we did it not as like an in-universe thing like Deadpool. Like Deadpool has an ability to break the fourth wall. What we're doing with her feels more akin to what we did in Miss Marvel, where it's a stylistic choice. Like Miss Marvel, we had a little song and dance number at times in Miss Marvel. We had a lot of fun stylistic things we did, in the whole laying out the plan for breaking out and going to the Avengers Con.
So your whole plan is to take a bus.
Exactly. So it feels akin to that, where the style of the show is kind of a la Ferris Bueller to an extent, where we're breaking the fourth wall less as something she does, just more as a way we tell our stories.
Even though Bruce can straight up acknowledge her and see her do it.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't mean that, and he looks at her like, what are what are you talking about?
Yeah, a little bit.
Even she was, I think at that point, since that was the first time she did it, even she was confused by it.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I wonder how far we're going to take that. But again, right now, I think if they keep it to the style of the show, I think it's going to play really well. Because again, before she became She-Hulk, she was doing it. So it's not an ability well,
I mean, she wasn't doing it before she became She-Hulk.
Well, that's the thing. I just realized as I said that because I was thinking, no, we saw Jennifer Walters do it, but then I realized, oh wait, she's She-Hulk at that point, so yeah, she would be able to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that must be like one of the things in their bodies that she has exclusive use to. It's like one of her gamma abilities is to talk to the audience.
Yeah, so basically what they established here, by the way, with the whole gamma DNA thing was that basically we explained why Bruce Banner didn't die when he said with all the gamma radiation and why she didn't die when she turned into She-Hulk. So essentially, there's some people are throwing around a lot of terms like are they mutant or anything, but the point being just they're kind of like special for plot purposes that they did not get killed by gamma radiation.
I know in the comics it was more like there was like a blood transfusion involved instead of like the blood getting into her bloodstream, but
yeah, so that's I want to talk about that, Jacob. Yes. So I love how we handled that. What did you think?
I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna. I mean, you know me, I'm not gonna be claimed to be an expert on actual comics or anything, but I do know the basics of majority of these characters. Like I do remember that She-Hulk became She-Hulk Jen became the She-Hulk in the first place because she got in some kind of accident or she needed a blood transfusion, and Bruce was her closest living relative. So without any choice, he gave some blood transfusion, and that resulted in her gaining Hulk abilities.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying though, Jacob.
But here it actually does make sense. I mean, it's more of like an emergency situation, kind of like an accident to propel the plot forward instead of like, they can't find somebody else to donate the blood.
Well, here's the thing about this show that this got me really excited in the way we reinterpreted the origin. Like we kind of updated and retrofitted to the MCU in a really interesting way. So, of course, the biggest thing that's well, I should say the second biggest thing in regards to Spider-Man, but let's just say so. Obviously, the MCU right now, Marvel Studios is hamstrung by Universal, but more so Sony. With the whole like usage of Spider-Man, how that whole thing's going, and the Sony the whole Spider-Man universe, and we won't even touch that with a 10-foot pole right now. What I'm getting at is,
well, fortunately, they seem to be working things out with Sony, considering they're bringing some of their movies to Disney Plus, and obviously Sony only has rights to the movies. It's the movie rights, which is why Marvel Studios is technically allowed to produce Spider-Man TV shows.
Yeah, exactly. So my point is, Jay, the Spider-Man releasing a working space with them right now. So the point being, Spider-Man is just it's a little. The point being, overall, Spider-Man, we're at least we still have him around. We still have him on the floor to play with, and eventually he will be coming to Disney Plus. So in theory, you could binge all the MCU movies with the exception of one, The Incredible Hulk.
All 100 hours of the MCU.
Yes. So that's what I'm getting at here. So, of course, I really like, I'm in a very select camp. I really like the Incredible Hulk movie. And with that, one of the great things about the Incredible Hulk movie, and what I'm getting at here is like we're hamstrung in that unfortunately, we can't give the Hulk his own movie, and we can't really follow up directly the Incredible Hulk. But what we have been able to do here in this series, which shows potential to, and we know in a big way we're doing this with the Abomination, is that I like that through a number of things, mainly this, we are finding a way to kind of dip back into the Incredible Hulk well and kind of do Hulk-related stuff. And one of the great things from the Incredible Hulk movie that we've retrofitted here in a genius way, I thought, was, hey, let's the way the blood idea in the Incredible Hulk, the idea Bruce Banner is very careful about his blood because he knows how dangerous it can be, and he's kind of like a walking bioweapon of sorts. His blood is toxic and it can irradiate people and all that sort of stuff. It practically killed Stan Lee for all we know. For all we know.
Well, it killed Stan Lee in that movie anyway.
Yes, I like to think he's alive, but we don't know. We don't see him. But you're right. Probably the Gamma Stan probably dead.
Well, I mean, if you played like one of the Lego Marvel games, you can unlock Stan Lee and he has the powers of the Hulk.
There you go.
One of the things he can do is transform into the so Hulk Stan is a legitimate thing in one of the Lego Marvel games.
And there you go.
So maybe that's where he came from.
So my point is, I love that I knew about the She-Hulk kind of blood transfusion. So it's the main thing we always know about her origin, how she became She-Hulk. But I like that we kind of took the logic. Wait a minute. If Bruce Banner in the MCU knows how dangerous his blood is, why in a million years? Yes, it's a desperate situation, but why necessarily in the modern way of storytelling today? would that be allowed? Like, would that really happen now? And we found a really good way around it, in which, like, hey, he didn't do it intentionally. It was a car accident, kind of like the Incredible Hulk TV series, which already I'm loving. And the whole, obviously not with alien spaceships or anything, but the fact is a car accident happened that which killed David Banner's wife in the TV show.
Yeah, especially considering that now it doesn't necessarily need to be a close living relative to even do blood transfusions anyway.
That's what I'm saying. That's the main thing too, is the fact that we blood stuff today is like a lot more like it's a little less kind of in the moment that it was in the 80s and the 70s.
I mean, it works for comic book purposes.
Obviously. It does. It works perfectly for comic book purposes, but I like that here we have like a really good update that plays into the Incredible Hulk with the whole like that great sequence. Oh, that little drop of blood falls in the conveyor belt, and he has to go find it, and ends up killing Stanley or irradiating Stanley. And so that's the thing. I love that we just had this bit of like it's a good slant to give She-Hulk because it makes sense that he wouldn't give her that transfusion.
I mean, it is kind of strange that it happened almost immediately.
Well, it's like it's like an open wound. It's like
I mean, I know that she started turning green like the second it went into her bloodstream.
Well, it was like directly in it's an open wound versus like just drinking some backwash of gamma radiated blood.
Yeah, I know. But
apparently, it works fast anyway. So we saw. Think about it. We saw we saw this happen before with Stearns, with the leader. Unfortunately, we didn't see what happened to him afterwards, but we saw it drip into his head, and he started to change. It works that fast.
Yeah, I guess you are right about that.
So that's the thing. So I will say this.
And with the passing of John Hurt, it's a shame we'll never get to see.
William Hurt.
Yeah, William.
Yeah. Jacob Mike. You're saying about William Hurt, yes. Jacob, you there, buddy? Sorry about that, folks. Little technical hiccup. Anywho, yes, yeah, Jacob.
Go on for a moment.
Okay. Anyway, folks, yes, the point being, I just think it's a really good slant to kind of like apply to our She-Hulk show.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, can you hear me? Jacob. All right. Bear with us, folks. Enjoy the jazzy dance music.
Sorry about that, folks.
All right, Jacob, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right, good. We're back then. All right, so you were saying about William Hurt.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I had a technical difficulty. So sorry about the dead space there. I'm just saying it's a shame without that we won't be able to ever see Thunderbolt Ross.
That is really a shame.
Yeah, Red Hulk, I mean.
Do you think they were going in the Red Hulk direction? Do you think
I mean, honestly not, but honestly, I don't think they were. But it would have been interesting to see if they could. I mean, they do have the Thunderbolts coming up. And
I know we have the Thunderbolts coming up.
And I know he's not necessarily their namesake, or maybe he is, I don't remember.
Well, it's the fact that at some point honestly, one of my favorite permutations of the Thunderbolts had Ross on the team as the Red Hulk. So that was really, so I was looking forward to that. And here's the thing. They've been teeing up like Ross has had deteriorating health in the MCU, so perhaps the Hulk thing would have been the way out of that had it gone on. So,
and unfortunately, due to William Hurt's passing, they probably won't go forward with that.
No, not very likely. No.
But
yeah. Anywho, what I was getting at, so as much as I like the blood of the whole the gamma radiated blood just kind of dripping into the open wound thing for the instant transformation, I'll admit there is one thing. Here's the thing. There are two things that do kind of bother me. Overall, I have like 3 gripes. These are not bad gripes that cripple the episode, but these are just kind of things that stand out to me that kind of took away from the episode as a whole a little bit for me. So one, with that introduction, while I like the origin, she is just really thrown at us. Like Hulk has a cousin, and the fact that Hulk had Bruce Banner has family that we've never talked about before, and there's his cousin. Like it's kind of like she's just late family member in the Jeep that we've never mentioned before.
I mean, she kind of did she did mention and my cousin Bruce. Yes, that Bruce.
That's what I'm saying. That I'm not. I'm saying it's. Doesn't it feel like it's kind of a rushed introduction of a
I,
character?
I mean, it kind of. I mean, the show even still kind of does point it out, considering the fact this is like how Hulk isolated himself from his family most of the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying again. It's not bad and it does work. It just feels a little like when I look back on this, it's like, man, I really. We get to know her post the accident. It's kind of a shame we don't really know who she was before it a little bit, but yeah, it's. I don't know.
Yeah, it is kind of funny that they never mentioned her before.
That's the thing, and again, it's unavoidable clearly because it's a retroactive thing in which they had no idea years back they were ever going to do She-Hulk. They had no clue. Like
I
especially
mean,
once Universal kind of tightened the reins, they had no clue.
yeah, fortunately, they're still able to use the Hulk, just not solo Hulk films.
Exactly. Put him in anything. Put him in everything. Just don't put him in a movie called The Incredible Hulk. Again. All right, so that's the thing. So the other thing, the Sakaar attack. So basically, we're doing the car accident, but by way of like, hey, Sakaar was trying to take the Hulk back, presumably, or maybe sending a message, trying to kill him.
Yeah, they did kind of come out of nowhere.
I mean, that's the thing. It's not so much that it's not so much a problem in using Sakaar, but we just kind of write it off like really fast. Like, yeah, I should deal with that.
Like that would make an interesting story. I mean, that would make an interesting series in itself.
Let me ask you this: out of these two possibilities, what do you think might happen here? Do you think it's they just want him to come back as their champion, or do you think we might be going as far as like Hulk sired a child on Sakaar?
Probably the champion because I'm not sure about the whole child thing.
That's the thing. I can't help but wonder if they're going to if they're gonna try and do like the Planet Hulk thing where he has a kid with a Kyra, I think her name is.
Well, I mean, like I said, you would know more about that than I would.
Well, it's the fact that we didn't do any of that stuff in Ragnarok that makes me think you're right that we're not going to do it. But I'm just saying I don't know. It's just kind
I
of a
mean, well,
thought that
I
that
mean,
occurred.
I mean, he was Hulk for 2 years, so I guess maybe who knows what happens on Sakaar stays on Sakaar.
That's the thing. Like the kid at this point would be would be like be like a kid at least, which would be different than like usually Hulk has like a full grown son who grown out of like gamma radiation. I'd imagine. So
Yeah, so it's like maybe what happens on Sakaar stays on Sakaar.
So that's the thing. I personally, I don't think they're going to go that far. But I'm saying if they wanted to go for like a shock value thing of why are the Sicarians, going down there? Why are they, why are they pestering the Hulk now? Is there a reason? I don't know. I'm thinking it's the champion thing, or they're not happy their champion left. I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe he'll use Jen as a family lawyer or something.
That's what I'm saying. We'll see. We'll see. Again, I would not bet any of King Midas' silver on that one. I'll say that much.
King Midas is silver.
Yeah, it's the old adage like you're not betting real money, you're betting like silver.
I mean, I knew Midas was gold. I never knew he had silver.
Yeah, it's from Dodgeball.
Ah, all right.
Anyway,
That explains that I've never watched that movie.
yeah, I'm saying the whole the fact that like silver is like a fool's bet sort of thing. Anyway,
Okay, enough explaining jokes.
all right. Anyway, so moving on. So the point being, we referenced Planet Hulk, which itself is cool. Do you think it's like a maybe kind of like a weird add to the She-Hulk origin that we had Sakaar in the mix, or do you think because we've done this with the Hulk before, it like kind of fits?
I mean, it kind of fits, but it also kind of shows they didn't follow them after they crashed.
Yeah,
Maybe the Hulk maybe Bruce took care of them after that.
yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think they just kind of ran. It looks like they ran away.
It's like, oh, now there's two of them.
I think maybe they just assumed like, yeah, we killed him. Look at that car crash. No one's gonna survive that.
Like it's just kind of interesting that they figured out that that random human was also the Hulk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they were chasing, Thor and a human guy, so they probably put two and two together on that one. But how they were able to find where he came from—that's another question, though.
Yeah, that is kind of odd.
So that's what I'm saying. This car thing just feels a little like, hey, Hulk stuff, which is cool, but it's like, really, did we need that?
Yeah.
I mean, Doctor Strange just forged from an average, everyday car crash. I don't know if. Anyway, so
Yeah.
point being, we have that. So We should address this too. The gamma regulation prototype device that's on Bruce Banner's arm at the top of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I'll to your point too, Jacob. Is that yeah, we are playing fast and loose. Like yeah, we're just kind of expositing things in a self-aware way. We are kind of bringing up like he's just kind of yammering on about. And look at this device I have. It's. It kind of makes me in human form, basically explaining, wait, why is Bruce Banner there at the end of Shang-Chi? Where's Smart Hulk?
Like, and then we're speaking of Shang-Chi, we're also getting and Doctor Strange. We're getting Wong later in this series too.
Yep, which makes sense. We're connecting things. Oh yeah.
It's like yep. Now we'll see what Emil Blonsky and Wong were up to. Have been up to.
Yeah. I do question She-Hulk's blood healing the Hulk's arm, which had like cosmic damage to it, like he's snapping all the Infinity Stones like that, and he's going to right his reign. But I will say this though, we didn't the whole reason Hulk had to snap the gauntlet in the first place because the thing was giving off like lethal amounts of gamma radiation, which I don't know, maybe there's some logic there. If gamma radiation did this, maybe gamma radiation would heal it. So I'll give it that. That makes sense. Enough.
I mean, heck, it's what killed Tony after all.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
How about maybe not the gamma radiation, but the gauntlet using the stones did?
That's what I'm saying. It's kind of a question: how much is cosmic? But again, gamma did factor into that. With the Tesseract was giving off gamma radiation anyway, so.
And that's why they even brought in Hulk and brought in Bruce in the first place.
Exactly. So it's all relative. So it's kind of a little thing that kind of jumped out to me. Anyway, so she hulks out for the first time at this bar. Now, two things. Well, after the initial Hulk out, she passes out, she wakes up, she goes to this bar and gets cleaned up by some very friendly ladies in the bathroom. By the way, really friendly bunch.
Yeah.
So we hit two beats here. One, we have like a nod to Savage She-Hulk, and she's like in the ripped up thing, she's like just yelling at him, which is just kind of fun.
Yeah.
Which again is for the misdirect of like we think, oh, he's gonna have to train her back from the whole Savage She-Hulk to being kind of like sentient She-Hulk, but no, she doesn't have to do that at all. It's just kind of initial like kind of coming to sort of thing, like baby's first steps. But we do hit, I think, a big thematic note for the season, which I think they're going to be walking it. There's a line to walk with it, but so far it seems like it could be good. We very realistically show and convey, like, the dangers of a woman in the modern world, where, she's just waiting for a ride from her cousin, and guys are caught, women have a target on their back. Like, we're hitting these beats really well. I just hope the show doesn't become entirely absorbed in them, like, and look what She-Hulk's dealing with now, with being a woman and being a Hulk.
Yeah, there's a very fine line to cross there, like where it's like it's just like okay, it's like there's a point where it's like it's okay we're to begin it, but you're being too preachy and you're actually being kind of sexist yourself about it.
I'm saying if we can hit moments like this occasionally, but hit them well like we do here,
yeah,
I think we'll be in good shape. But if we do like a whole message thing, She-Hulk's a movement, that's going to be, okay, that's it. It's a little much.
It's like, first female superhero in the MCU, guys.
Yeah, exactly. The whole thing. But again, she'll be a hero in the public.
Like she's the first female. Like, no, she's like, yes, she is.
So the point being, we have a fine line to walk so long as it doesn't turn into maybe Jessica Jones at its not so best parts. We're hitting people over the heads with like, after season 1 of Jessica Jones, at times we did really hit men are animals and they're always going after the women. It's a lot of bad stuff's going to happen. It's like, I don't know. So we'll see.
Like, yeah, just kind of painting that picture there. It's like, the women at the bar, they helped her. The men at the bar, they just went after her. It's like, in reality, a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah. I will say this, though. The really great thing we can get from the She-Hulk show is, again, the fact that she's a hero in the public eye and she can't hide. She's going to be very much kind of like a Tony Stark dilemma. Like Tony Stark, he cannot hide by choice. He didn't hide. I am Iron Man thing.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting to see with her, just the whole like being such kind of a public figure who really can't kind of hide her powers or anything, and it's going to be interesting.
It will be, yeah. It's like seeing how she balances both being Jennifer Walters, the lawyer, and She-Hulk.
And then the melding of the two, like I can't wait to see her be She-Hulk in the courtroom arguing a case. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Oh yeah.
Which already I see a great dichotomy between her and Matt Murdock right there. I mean, just the fact that Matt Murdock is hiding the other side of himself and basically kind of parlaying the two in service of each other, where she is like
I
doing that in a different way.
I just hope it's not just like a minor tease from the trailer, and he's not. I mean, I hope he's in more than just like a single episode or even now and all
Well,
that.
what
Yeah,
I'm hoping happens is that it's just we're gonna only have him in the costume briefly, but he'll be in a few episodes as Matt Murdock. That's what I'm hoping for.
I mean, me too. I mean, we're slowly edging him to his own series on Disney Plus. So.
At the very least, we got to give him like a show-stopping. If it's only one episode, it has to be like the best episode ever. Matt Murdock shows up, and he's like, let's give that man a show. And thank goodness we gave him a show again.
It's like, and now that Disney Plus has shown that they are perfectly willing to have R-rated content and even Marvel Zombies, Disney Plus original is going to be rated TVMA. It's entirely people are worried about this, but it's entirely possible that Daredevil may continue the trend of TVMA shows.
Yeah, if we go the MA route, do you think we'll be able to keep the continuity then?
I mean, it's entirely possible. I mean, Disney Plus now has all the Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and all that stuff, and that's not some kids stuff on there. I mean, not that stuff like in the MCU is really entirely child friendly anyway.
Well, as much as I'd love to continue on this Daredevil line of thinking, he's not even in the episodes. Who should refocus?
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying.
No, I hear you. All right, so the lab in Mexico. This really elated my heart, Jacob. I don't know about you.
It basically highlighted that Tony and Bruce are actually very good friends.
Yeah, I thought it was so sweet that, loving the dialogue, especially on the rewatch. Oh, Tony gave him this lab after during the blip, and is the fact that he called it a loaner, like he threatened to take it back, and he's gone, so he can never do that. Oh, they built the little tiki bar together. Where really he built it, but Tony just drank when they were building it.
Obviously, Tony did help put all the lab and stuff.
No, yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying the tiki bar specifically. Yeah.
Yep. And you even see the name like TS and BB on there.
Yeah, which is really cute. I love that.
It's just like, like Tony really like it's even more proof that Tony Stark has a heart.
And also, I like the little nod of like their biggest mess together. He has like the little Iron Man helmet that's from the Iron Legion that, of course, led to Ultron. So it kind of has it in the lab.
And of course, Jen has the Led Zeppelin shirt.
Yep. Tony's Led Zeppelin shirt. Yeah. So,
it's more proof that Tony Stark has a heart.
Indeed. So, we have kind of like, I call it like the Being Hulk 101 kind of stuff that we have here, in which we basically put her in the we put her through her paces, like we put her in like the death chamber, which it is rather curious. Why the heck would anyone have a death chamber like that? But, I mean, it's to stress somebody out and to transform, I'm sure, but still.
Yeah, it is a good question. He doesn't even answer any of our questions about it either.
Yeah, it is overkill, but again, it is designed to scare you into a Hulk out. So,
and it worked.
It does. So, so let's see. So we have the big revelation here that we can just kind of skip past like this giant binder full of like the 15-year Hulk experience. Like, well, we can skip past that.
I just love how spiteful he was like, I'll just tear that out of this.
We can just jump right into the end game portion. We can just jump to the end game portion of things now.
I love how he basically, when he was turned there, like, I'll just tear this out.
Yeah.
You could just hear the salt in his voice.
Yeah. Again, there is like a jealousy of, it's coming so easy to her. What gives?
Yeah.
I had to hide for 3 years. I had to buy new pants all the time. Come on.
Spandex is your best friend.
Yeah. Which is, I love it.
And she's not very grateful for him at all for any of this either.
Yeah.
But go on.
Yeah, I love the whole. By the way, I love like the Costco like buying in bulk thing where he buys all the cheese puffs and she's buying like the spandex. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, so so we have kind of this. Overall, we have kind of these montages of subversion here. We see that Shield does not have to grapple with an alter ego, and basically she's basically Smart Hulk with the ability to transform, which Smart Hulk does not have. Not by will, at least. Like, that's saying he can't transform on a whim. She can.
And she also goes. She also can transform when she sleeps, and she reverts back to Jen.
Yeah, so basically we have the built-in thing with the Hulks. When you're unconscious, you de-Hulkify.
Yeah, and then he wakes her up with the air horn, which we mentioned at the start of the episode.
Yep, which is priceless.
Which is probably the funniest moment in the episode.
How do you think the effects look, by the way?
Yeah, they definitely look better than they did in the trailers.
Yeah, cool.
And it's like, and they're more like brother and sister than cousins, honestly.
That's the thing. Bruce doesn't have any will, so she might as well be his sister. So
It's like, was the air horn really necessary?
for comedy purposes.
Absolutely. It's like, yeah, he's like a big brother at that point.
Yeah. So let me tell you, okay, the biggest problem I have with this episode is the one thing I just can't shake. So we have like this fun montage. Okay, he's a little jealous of her, and but she's learned the ropes really fast and everything. So we've kind of subverted like the whole okay, yeah, she doesn't have to be here for a long time. We don't have to go through like all the power beats necessarily. She's got kind of she's a quick study, but then they have kind of a fight. And I'm not saying they can't have a fight or they can't kind of blow up at each other a little bit, but so she leaves and they get into a fight, and it just feels like it just felt like there was why do we need an action mandate when we're going to end on kind of a fight scene in the courthouse anyway? Like, why do we have to do the extended fight scene between people who really should be having a discussion right now versus and they're fighting because they're Hulks?
Like, yeah, and kind of was going on like how she's probably a better Hulk than he is now. It's just like she doesn't really have a lot of gratitude for for him helping her,
and it doesn't make her look good, and that's a problem I have too. Is the fact it's a fight that doesn't need to happen, and it makes her absolutely, Jacob, look ungrateful.
I mean, she has some solid points, but
no, unequivocally, that's what I'm saying. The discussion, the lawyerly points that she is making, lands very well, but does not need to be fighty fight to me.
And he was just trying to help her because he has over probably 10, 15 years of experience.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing the main thing I liked in this fight, the only thing I think we kind of maybe needed, the only action beat we could have used in this fight that we got, we didn't need the rest of it, was the Hulk clap. Which, imagine, think about that. She does the miniaturized Hulk clap, which essentially leads to the sonic weapons that they use in the Incredible Hulk, which kind of debilitate him a little bit. So that's a good plot thing that we establish. And okay, so that's kind of showing she has an advantage over him they never thought of before. So that's kind of, I don't know. That to me is the only action beat I can co-sign on in that scene. Everything else is and there's she started that fight by punching him in the face, which was not necessary at all. She instigated that fight.
Yeah.
So then of course the bar gets destroyed, but then they rebuild it. Thank goodness.
And it's like my bar. It's like, you're fixing it.
I love that. You are fixing it.
and to give her credit, she does.
Yeah, which is nice. I got to admit. Then of course they're having a little. I like it when they make up though. The whole it's if you want to go back be a lawyer, I support you. And the whole it's an open invitation. Come back anytime.
He's like, he doesn't mean that. And then he's like, he looks at her, like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Pardon my French.
Right.
But seriously, he just looks at her like, who are you talking to?
So, I mean, overall, it's in this debacle that they have. She does make a really good point about the fact that women do have built-in stressors, which is a thing you never think about the Hulk. There is kind of a high stress and kind of a paranoia about how you're perceived, which basically could be equivocated.
And also it's not. I have to admit that it's not just exclusively a woman thing, but.
No. What I'm saying though is something you don't consider in terms of the relation from the relation for what we have with Bruce Banner, which it's more of kind of like a life death sort of thing, kind of I don't know. It's just the fact there's a natural a perception thing that may have given her kind of made her a quick study. I think.
I mean, it's impossible.
Yeah. So it's. So, the fact it's something you never thought of. So I like that she did have kind of a point there. Again, it doesn't make her right, but she has a point.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't mean you should turn down someone who has experience with this thing for over 15 years.
No, of course not. No.
It's like he's only been doing it for probably a good quarter of his life. So
yeah. All right. I mean, I think the worst thing she does in the episode is probably when she just says, like, you've sacrificed all these things. It's like, no, maybe a little gratitude for all the things he sacrificed. Like he is alone. Maybe feel a little sympathy.
It's like, oh, sorry, I only brought back half the universe's population.
Cost me my arm before your whole thing happened.
It's like, sorry for bringing back half of the universe's population.
It killed my buddy who built the bar you wrecked.
It's like, yeah, seriously.
Yeah. So let's see. So then we have oh yes. Okay, so then we get to the bit I think is the best part of the episode. So the big courtroom moment. This is like our real pilot for the show here, essentially, where she's in court, and we have just a random this feels like prime like John Burns just in general, like maybe more Dan Slott in this case, but just in general.
That or Peter David.
Yeah, it's a good point. I'm not up to date on what Peter David She-Hulk was exactly.
I know he was more actual Hulk, but I do know he had Jen in some of his stories.
No, he did. I'm just saying I'm more familiar. Like Dan Slott was the main She-Hulk run I had, and then I knew a little bit about the John Burns stuff.
And what's kind of funny is that when I'm just saying contrary to a lot of Dan Slott's usual reception, his She-Hulk run is actually pretty well received.
Yeah. I mean, one of the great things in his She-Hulk run is that she was engaged to J. Jonah Jameson's son for a bit.
And I never had a problem with Dan Slott's work myself. I mean, I actually like Superior Spider-Man.
No, Superior Spider-Man's good. It's just some of the stuff after Superior Spider-Man's where it just kind of languishes for me, but that's just me.
All right, enough of Dan Slott, but your point with Dan Slott.
Yes, anyway, my point with Dan Slott is like, yeah, that's the thing. You just have like a She-Hulk and like is basically She-Hulk in the Dan Slott kind of sense is where we kind of put her in like kind of the everyday kind of like the mundanity of the MCU, kind of like what we had in the Stan Lee years of Daredevil, where you have Daredevil is like the go-to lawyer for all sorts of superheroes and everything, and basically is kind of the magnet for trouble, kind of like almost like a Spider-Man and a Daredevil in this case, and that equates to She-Hulk here. We're like, hey, she's going about her day, trying to make her big opening statement. What happens?
A super lady pops in and breaks the window. Breaks through the wall.
Yeah, Titania.
Titania?
I think it's Titania.
Titania.
I'm blanking on what exactly it is because I'm not up to date on her. But Titania. I don't know. Point being, they have a supervillain breaks in, and she's.
She breaks through the wall, and then her friend and Jen's friend tells her to go Hulk.
Yeah.
And she's like, I really like this outfit. Tell her to take off the shoes. Transforms into the Hulk. Basically kicks the supervillain's butt very easily.
I love everything. These are the action bits that are just so ridiculously cool here, where it's like, who are you? Jennifer Walters, attorney at law, throws like the bench or the table at her, and then like she runs through jump, and this is the coolest bit ever. Like mid jump, she just like punches her right against the wall, and you're like, ugh. It's like, that is amazing. Yes.
And then turns around, like, I'd like to make my opening statement now.
Just fantastic. Just
roll credits.
Just and of course our credits are courtroom art, which is great. I didn't know we were going to do that. It makes all the sense in the world that we did do it, and it looks great.
Yep. And as you said, and as you were mentioning me on Skype, it seems like they might be doing it for every single episode.
Yeah, because there are very episode-specific beats in there, like what we're seeing before us now, and there are some other gags, and of course, with one of those gags, we should talk about it.
And it seems like there might be like some particular art that might carry over through other episodes, but
yeah, entirely. But like, for example, like the last shot, I'm sure is going to be on every, like, you heard in the shadows of her shadow on the courthouse, which looks great. And again, it was very tempting for this one, but I'm sure that one's going to be on at the end of all of them.
But yes, like the pressing argument that was like that Bruce and what was like the pressing discussion that Bruce and Jen were having early on, whether or not Steve Rogers died a virgin.
Yes, and this is actually something I have heard speculated over the years. Yeah, so this is kind of funny to hear brought up, and also on a serious note, a thing this show is going to have to combat, and I'm impressed that it's tackling this at all. So the fact that She-Hulk, there's a sex appeal to the character, obviously, as built in there, and there's the fact that She-Hulk in the comics, she has a very active sex life, which we are, based on the trailer, we are going to broach at least once in this show. So the fact that sex is on our mind, and we are seeing it, and again, like it's just the fact that we're not shying away from that aspect of the character. I do respect the show for. I just hope it doesn't land itself into like you're gonna have like a bunch of weirdos coming out from the woodwork saying things about every episode, which is bound to happen anyway. You slice it, I'm sure, but still, it's the fact of like, hey, I like the fact that we didn't shy away from it, and we did it in a fun way in this first episode, where it's like, hey, she has like this whole flow chart and everything, and like in the courtroom art, just of Steve Rogers from the '40s in the Star Spangled Man outfit. So of course it can't be Peggy Carter because like he doesn't end up with her till Endgame.
And there's no way she would know about that.
That's the thing. She thinks he died, so she has no idea what's going on there. Honestly, we in the MCU still don't know if Steve Rogers actually died or not. We don't know if he's on the moon or if he's dead or what.
On the moon?
yeah. In Falcon Winter Soldier, I think he's on the moon.
They think he's on the moon.
Well, that's the rumor. The rumor is that he's on the moon.
Well, he just went back in time and aged into an old man.
Exactly. But we don't know
which makes you wonder if old man Steve was watching all the events like happened before. Like, oh yeah, I remember when I did that.
That's the thing. So
that's like, do you think he was like watching it? Like, do you think the old man Steve was alive during the snap? And it was like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Here's the thing. Without getting into all the semantics, I mean, I forget if it was the Russos or who, or I don't think it was the writers. Either the Russos or the writers. Somebody, I think, convoluted the Captain America thing, saying he went to like a branching timeline or something. I think the simplest explanation is, yeah, he just he was around. He just just downplayed it because he retired. He knew everything was in hand and it was going to work out for the best. That's I think the simplest route of what happened.
I mean, that makes sense.
Anyways, the real question is old man Steve Rogers on the moon? That's the real question we should be talking about.
It's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, like, is he leading this new sword shield thing with Nick Fury or what? Like, what's going on?
Well, we'll find out, I guess.
I imagine, you know what? I wonder if they're keeping it under wraps if Chris Evans is going to pop up in Secret Invasion. In Secret Invasion, because they are teeing up like there's a lot of real shocking things are going to happen in that show.
Well, I haven't heard anything like that, but we'll find out.
Anyway, so the big question.
And Bruce's revelation.
So they're drinking at the bar and everything. So Bruce is finally admits it.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about the whole like they can drink alcohol, not feel a buzz, but they still get hangovers.
Exactly, which is basically it's kind of like the so again, Cap can't get drunk, and neither can Deadpool really. But there's like kind of like a sobriety thing with our superpowered characters.
It's like a healing. It's like part of the healing factor.
Exactly, like Jessica Jones, for example, she can get drunk, but it's going to take a lot to get her drunk.
It's like she'd have to drink like 10 kegs of beer,
which she does on a regular basis. So
yeah, so she gets drunk a lot.
That's less kegs, more like bottles and bottles and bottles.
It's like that's where all her detective money goes, into beer.
Yep.
And anyway, it's like Captain. So Steve Rogers hooked up with a USO girl
in '43.
Yes.
while he was on the tour for the song, while he was on the Star Spangled Man tour.
Yep.
See what's funny? Did you hear about the whole? This isn't. It was shot down and yeah.
Is it that Chris Evans actually found the joke hilarious?
No, not well. Yes, he said that, but that's what I was getting at. So the whole, remember Star-Lord, the actress who plays Star-Lord's mother, is in the first Captain America movie as kind of an autograph hound. It's like a lady who kind of like smiles a nice, pretty smile at him, says hi, and then so it's Meredith. It's the actress who plays Meredith Quill, which always got people speculating and. James Gunn had to shoot this down because the years didn't match up. If you really think about it, it's the fact like, wait a minute, is Steve Rogers Star-Lord's grandfather? Which clearly, for two reasons, that is not the case. One, we've seen Peter Quill's grandfather.
Yeah.
And two, the years wouldn't match up for when Meredith Quill was born.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anywho, I'm just saying it was kind of tough. James Gunn had to address that. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. But
Anyway, so
let's
I gotta tell you though, man, I love that She-Hulk digs Captain America. I love that.
get Captain America getting the praise he deserves.
Yeah, I love that.
Like he's like Captain America, fuck.
Yeah, that might have been a little much, but it's what
Well,
it
she was
is.
drunk.
That's what I'm saying. She's drunk, so at least it's not.
Well, I mean, well, yeah. I mean, technically, I don't know if she was drunk, but
I'm saying it's kind of fun. We've had like 3 MCU characters in which we've ended episodes or movies like that. Spider-Man, Nick Fury, and now her.
yeah.
And surely Deadpool next. I'd be shocked if we didn't.
Well, Deadpool just says it regularly anyway.
No, I'm saying if we put Deadpool in a crossover event where he can't curse, we got to end the movie like that.
Like, you tell me I can't fuck.
Either that or he gets away with it because it's like literally at the very end of the movie, he gets that actually drop the F-bomb. It was like the one F-bomb per PG-13 movie.
You're telling me I can't say fuck, and then the movie ends.
Yep. What
And
the?
And then when it's distributed by like Marvel Studios, like, damn it!
This is what Spider-Man did it.
It's like, you're telling me I can't say fuck. Distributed by Marvel Studios. Damn it!
God dang it!
Oh, I mean, that'd be funnier than actually cursing.
Oh, of course.
Oh god! I would love to. What would it be like if She-Hulk and Deadpool broke the fourth wall together?
I gotta be honest, because that's the thing. Think about it. Deadpool right now. Deadpool is single, and he is he's kind of open to everything. And She-Hulk again, very active social life. Imagine if that's like the moment where it's just kind of like that's like the star-crossed love for a moment there of like, oh my god, you can break the fourth wall too, and that maybe leads to
it's like you see them too.
Yep, somebody swiped right. Yeah.
We get it funny if she's like some kind of dating app and she sees Wade Wilson on there, and she's like, nope.
Yeah, just sees like the horribly, horribly disfigured face. Nope.
She swipes right on Tinder or something.
Yeah, or left or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's like we don't have dating apps, that people. I should tell you.
I think it's right because Deadpool had a line in Deadpool 2 when Cable was like, you're getting all touchy-feely for a moment. Like, someone swiped right. So I think it's right. I think right's literally means like right and left is like the no-go.
Yeah, so it's like, and then later if they meet in person, he'd be like, you swiped right on me.
I saw it. I watched the episode. I got Disney Plus. What? You know about it too? Anyway, okay.
I mean, Disney does exist in the MCU.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, we should talk about that before we get out of here. Inside Out exists in the MCU.
Yep.
Of course, even the Hulk is touched by the Bing Bong sacrifice.
Yeah, She-Hulk was. Anyway, Bruce kind of just played off like, no, not like that.
No. I love that he's going like, no, not Bing Bong. He was thinking about it though. He was getting all emotional over it. He was recalling the Bing Bong thing.
Poor Bing Bong.
Yep. Oh, poor Bing Bong.
But yeah, no. It's like, yeah, Disney and also Pixar exist within the Marvel universe,
which is rather nice.
And we know DC also exists in the Marvel universe and MCU too.
Yeah. Well, again, we've known Deadpool and the marketing for Deadpool too. He made all the Toy Story references, so that's quite fun.
Well, he wasn't in the MCU at that point.
I know he wasn't, but now he kind of is. So who knows?
Well, unless it's the whole Deadpool 3 confirms like a multiversal crossing thing.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
I mean, technically Deadpool is like, you're so dark. Are you sure you're not from the DC universe?
Deadpool's kind of exist everywhere.
Yes. It's like, you thought there was only one of me.
Well, remember, we got to wrap this up because we don't want to get into semantics over a whole bunch of other stuff. But remember, in the Eternals, we established the DC comics exist in the MCU.
I mean, that's what I was talking about when they mentioned Superman and Batman in that movie.
Right. Sorry. Yes.
I mean, that's the main thing I was referring to anyway.
Right.
But yeah, that's like DC exists, Disney exists, Pixar exists.
Well, I mean, it fits the whole the Marvel being like the most realistic we can get, where it's like we're in New York and that the settings you can go to, so it's a world we recognize, it's a world you go to, it's a world we know.
And obviously obviously all kinds of actual movies and people exist in that universe too.
For sure.
It's kind of weird tying it all together, especially when you have certain actors that have intersected with each other before, or like reference parts that they've been in.
Yep, like Hot Tub Time Machine, which has Sebastian Stan in it.
It's like, or when they reference like the Great Lebowski, and
Yep.
and Jeff Bridges was in that.
Yep.
So,
The Duke tried to kill Tony Stark once.
yep,
Yeah, the dude.
the dude.
All right.
All right. Well, any other semantics you want to discuss?
I don't want to kill time by speculating about Daredevil and such. We'll save that. I mean, let me ask you one thing about that. When do you think he's going to show up during the season? I doubt it's going to be next episode.
Yeah, probably not next episode unless they're like trying to throw us a major curveball.
Do you think we're gonna? I'm thinking the halfway point. I'm thinking episode 5 or 6.
Yeah, because there's going to be 9 episodes this season, I believe.
Yes, that's where I'm ballparking it.
Yeah, and I would say like somewhere in the mid-season, at the most maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, or unless they're waiting until the end of maybe 7 or 8.
That's the thing. I wonder if we are going to do like a 3-episode arc per thing, where perhaps Daredevil will be. I remember back in the speculatory days, I was speculating we're going to have like the big trial of the season, perhaps leading to Matt Murdock versus She-Hulk. In a court, which maybe that would be like a 3-episode kind of thing, where then he'd be introduced. So I don't know.
It'd be kind of interesting if they were on opposing sides during a court case.
And that's the thing that would make for a very interesting conflict, in which obviously we know Matt Murdock, he's not going to be on the wrong side of this. So perhaps he would be kind of putting her in a position where she's really got to question, because we know she's going to be hired. For all we know, she's going to be, if I recall, and I could be wrong here, from this episode. She is going up against the law firm that will hire her. So she was in opposition to these guys. I'm forgetting the acronym, but it's like GLK or something.
I think that's what it was.
I think it's GLK. So the point being that if you call the She-Hulk number for the marketing, you get linked to GLK, I think. So the point being, it is quite possible we have a story in which she's become the poster child for this. They want her to take on the Abomination case. And maybe again, Matt Murdock is the wake-up call that, hey man, you should go out and practice law on your own. Do things your way, which ultimately she might do.
I mean, but even she doesn't want to represent him. Like, this man tried to kill my cousin.
Yeah, so that's, I don't know. I'm thinking Matt Murdock might be the gut check for you got to do the right thing. Basically, being a hero in the legal sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be interesting.
And it'll be interesting to see how Wong fits into all this too.
Well, I think Wong is going to be the solution for the Abominations. Because remember, think about this, Jacob. She-Hulk is set after Shang-Chi because, again, he healed the arm and everything. So, by that logic, Wong has been doing his thing with the Abomination before She-Hulk entered the fray. So we're going to get an explanation for what's going on there.
Yeah. It's like I do things by the book. Book of Shanti.
No, the book of American laws.
And he's like, Wong.
Yeah.
It's funny how I think he's been in almost more stuff than Doctor Strange has at this point.
Let's see for a second, just real quick.
I mean, or at least they're tied now.
They have to be tied because I think Wong kind of appears with Doctor Strange, with very few exceptions otherwise.
Because Doctor Strange didn't appear without him in Ragnarok.
That's the thing. He's got 2 on it. Doctor Strange.
But then Wong also appeared in Shang-Chi without Doctor Strange.
I'm pretty sure Doctor Strange is up to 5. And then let's see, Wong would be obviously.
I mean that's like counting movies and.
Yeah.
But not like TV appearances.
No, not TV. I'm just saying in general. Like, Doctor Strange has appeared 5 times in the MCU, I think. And then with Wong, you have obviously the 2 Doctor Strange movies. He's in Spider-Man along with them, and Wong's in Shang-Chi, and now he's going to be in She-Hulk. So they're tied.
Obviously, they're also both in Infinity War and Endgame.
Exactly. So the point is they're tied at 5 so far. So there you go.
Yep, they both have their each solo appearances, and obviously with each other. So.
Yep.
And now we have Wong coming into this.
Yeah.
He's becoming part of the glue that holds these things together.
Well, he is the Sorcerer Supreme, not Doctor Strange technically. So.
Yep. I
All
think
right.
that. Yeah, we'll find out how that goes.
Yeah.
Wong, Sorcerer
We
Supreme.
know we're going to get a bunch of MCU guest stars in this show, which really does fascinate me. So that's going to be fun to see who is popping up.
Yeah, maybe we're getting Frogman, so that's a big name.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. Isn't it
Um,
Leapfrog? I think. Right?
Leapfrog, yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm being facetious with the whole famous thing, but
I'm no still though. Leapfrog's like one of the most ridiculous Daredevil villains, and we actually got him in there.
yep, and maybe that's what will introduce Matt Murdock.
I know that's what I'm saying. It has to. I'm thinking that's what's going to happen. So that the only thing that would make it better, Jacob, and can you? This would be the. I wonder if they're going to save this for when they do the Daredevil show. Perhaps again, if they do like a bit of a lighter tone, they could finally do something that they teed up in the Daredevil show, but they never shown. Stiltman. God, I want Stiltman because we set him up, but we never saw him because he would have broke the reality.
Stiltman.
Yes, Stiltman. Those are like the two most ridiculous Daredevil ones: Sleepfrog and Stiltman.
I can see why they didn't go with that.
Yeah.
Bring back.
But now they could. They absolutely could now, though. That's the thing.
And they could actually make him a credible villain.
Yes.
Stiltman.
Stiltman.
Oh god.
All right.
He looks like a reject RoboCop.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I'm looking at pictures of him on like the internet. It's like he looks like RoboCop.
A little bit, yeah.
Oh god.
All right.
Well,
Okay.
maybe, who knows? Maybe we also get a hint at the Kingpin again too.
I'm not going to count my chickens on that.
Because it takes place on the opposite side of the country.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's going to be real. Here's the thing, though. Do you think we're going to bring She-Hulk to New York?
I mean, I don't know. It's entirely possible.
That's the thing. I wonder.
I mean, it is kind of strange for Daredevil to travel all the way to L.A.
I mean, unless he's really going after Leapfrog with everything he's got.
That is like it is kind of strange to think that Daredevil would go to L.A., but it wouldn't be the strangest thing that could happen.
Yeah, that's the thing. But again, ultimately, I mean, traditionally, She-Hulk is in New York, so logically, at some point, she would have to go to New York, and if she were to go to New York, she would run into folks.
I mean, then again, so was Iron Man, and they moved into California with the MCU. So
exactly. So it's kind of it's hard to tell.
yeah. So
okay, Jacob, do you have anything else, or you want to wrap this puppy up?
nah, let's wrap this puppy up.
That'll do it for us this week, as we holster our remotes till the next installment calls for the draw, mano y mano, just Plus, and us.
And we did it before, we'll do it again. Was the air horn really necessary?
For comedy purposes, absolutely.